welcome to the Mediocre Disc Golf Podcast, an average podcast for the average disc golfer. As always, I'm Evan Amstutz here with the latest signing from MVP, Simon Lit. No, wait, camera's focusing. Ah, it's just Dan. We're happy you could join us. Dan, how are you doing today?
I'm good, man. How are you?
Doing pretty well. You know, my Instagram is recovering from the world's worst kept secret.
Oh man, I, it's probably got to be a kind of a pain for him, because he tried to keep it a secret and everything, and all the leaks got out. I mean, I'm sure he's probably not super thrilled about all that.
I don't like calling for people's jobs, but I mean, MVP's gotta take
Whoever
a
the
look.
leak is. Yeah.
Yeah. That's really not good because I mean that's a whole marketing thing. Like it
Oh
that's
my
a
God.
big deal.
Yeah, it's really rough, but well, it's pretty cool. I wonder with the dollar amount, like if it was a 10-year, $10 million contract, like what Paul got, or if it's because it was a 10-year contract, right? But there was no
Mhm.
dollar amount assigned to it. So I wonder if we'll hear more about that later.
Yeah, I bet I'd be surprised if we didn't, just given that we knew about stuff way before. But at the same time, like I kind of don't want to know. It's the guy's own deal. And enough of this kind of got yanked away from him, like enjoyment wise.
Yeah, give him something. I don't know. I feel like I'm in the camp that I think that the more contracts we know about, the better negotiation power it is for everybody else, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
So
I
like,
definitely agree there.
yeah. So like, Joe Blow, who was trying to get a contract, obviously knows that he probably isn't going to get that deal. But what's his worth if that's top value? If there's something more than that, or you know, I always all these people always talk about plus royalties, plus this or plus that. What are those numbers? Like, why aren't these deals public? That's I always want to know that. Is every time I see a signing, I really hope this becomes more mainstream where everybody knows everybody's contracts, just because it's more. Um, it only benefits the player. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
No,
it's
I
the same thing with like wages in the workplace. If nobody talks about their wages, it only benefits the employer.
yeah,
It doesn't. I
I
don't know.
I agree. No, those are all very valid points, and it is one of those things that I think, especially you and I's generation, really are kind of breaking through that stigma of wage sharing.
Yeah,
So maybe we'll start seeing that translate over to disc golf because Paul's deal really helped as far as being lucrative for other deals like Chris Dickerson's last year.
mm-hmm.
Wouldn't be surprised if we hear about ABs later, which
Yeah.
it was definitely interesting being in the Jacksonville area when all that was going down because it's kind of hard to not make assumptions when AB is a free agent and then shows up at a Jaguars game with a bunch of disc discraft players.
Yep. Or when he spotted out the local course throwing discraft stuff, that's also kind of interesting. But it's super. I mean, for the mainstream not to get a hold of that, for it kind of just get through a little bit. I think that's it. It speaks to our character of our community in Jacksonville that they
Mm-hmm.
didn't broadcast it nearly as much as they could have.
Yeah, I did see some pictures floating around, but none of them were like, "Oh my God, AB has to be going to Discraft." It was just like one of my friends
AB's
just,
here.
yeah, it was just like, "Oh, sick, AB's out
Yeah.
here with this person, like at the Jags
Mm-hmm.
game. That's cool." And then moved on, didn't like press it. Whereas
Exactly.
like Simon said in the bag video, he hasn't gotten opportunity to really test things out because he was worried about it getting leaked.
I for not to harp on the Simon thing, but seeing Simon throw a glitch, I can't wait. That's gonna be so much fun. Glitches are such a cool disc to throw. I can't wait to see him throw it and see what he can do with it.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see what with a lot of discs. The Envy, I mean, he's probably gonna be bombing that.
Yeah, yeah. It's gonna be cool, man. I'm really excited for the guy. I really it takes a lot of courage to kind of do something like this. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
You've been with the company for your entire career, just to switch. I mean, he obviously had to put a lot of thought into it, and he obviously, um, it's takes a lot of courage, and it's pretty awesome. Pretty awesome.
Yeah,
That's for
and it I forget which podcast said it, but someone mentioned, I think it might have been Debate Night or not Debate Night, Grit Block, one of the foundation ones. They were saying you don't see players be like outwardly upset, like you can tell it pains them to leave. And that's kind of what Simon's videos as of late have been of like, I am leaving Discmania, my last round with Discmania. Like it was sad.
Yeah, it was. It definitely felt like a shift a little bit. He definitely wasn't as some of the other players, selling their jerseys on Instagram type of situation where they obviously didn't really um, maybe they didn't like or whatever. Like maybe there was the parting wasn't as on good terms, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. So very happy to see one of the best guys in our sport get such a lucrative deal. From what I understand, he's one of the nicest people you'll meet, one of the most
Maybe
genuine
lucrative.
people.
We don't know.
Yeah.
Got to be
Uh,
though.
yeah, I'd imagine it's lucrative for him to leave Discmania like that. But yeah, that was some pretty big news. Honestly, kind of glad we're past it now.
I know it's been kind of hanging over the air for so long. It's pretty cool. Pretty cool.
Yeah.
Well, kind of shift a little bit. Oh, by the way, speaking of new and exciting things, um, Robbie from New World,
Hmm.
uh, he let all the Discraft team. That's where they filmed that little Discraft Elite team video, and that's they were throwing shots off the tees and kind of giving an using his course as a demo, I guess.
Hmm.
And the new disc that Discraft is putting out called the Venom.
Yes.
It's supposed to be a longer force, essentially.
Yeah. Brody
Um,
said it's kind of like it's a Nuke OS with a different, as far as flight, but with a different feel.
huh. I'm thinking the only person that really they would need to bring that disc around for would be AB
Yeah.
because he's throwing halos like crazy. That would make sense that like when he flips a halo and the thing just turns and it's like okay, so they're gonna have to bring in a much more stable disc because Discraft I don't know a ton about their lineup, so I might be speaking out of turn here, but like I feel like a lot of Discraft stuff isn't nearly as stable as like the Halo plastic is.
Uh, yeah, I'd say that's relatively accurate. I think you see a lot of the Discraft players instead of throwing like when Calvin's throwing a Calvin destroyer,
Yeah.
the Discraft players will be throwing more like a force.
Uh-huh.
Or a really overstable run of Nuke or a Nuke OS, something like that.
Yeah.
Maybe it's something where AB came in and said, "Yeah, I don't like the feel of the Nuke OS," or something like that. Could be something that they've had in the works of just, I mean, Innova's coming out with the Charger, which is essentially a Shrike with less turn.
Mm-hmm.
Like it could just be, hey, we need to come out with a disc.
When you
Let's
come over with a fast overstable disc.
Yeah. Like I don't know if it's necessarily a lineup thing, but I get your point there 100%. Like
Yeah.
it could just be adding different feels for a similar flight because that is
Yeah.
something that Innova definitely provides for players is it's overwhelming when you
It
first look
is.
at it, but you definitely see when you become a more experienced player, you see why they have it, because not everything fits everybody.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, speaking going back a little bit, what I was saying, Robbie at New World, after he
Mm-hmm.
showed that, they gave him some of those Venom discs,
Uh-huh.
and I got to hold it and mess around with it a little bit. It is very overstable, and it definitely could be that Halo Destroyer esque type disc, if that makes sense.
That's awesome.
So, um, if you guys get a chance, I think Sun King is having a grand opening. If for everybody around in the area, keep an eye out there. They've got some to sell,
Mm-hmm.
and everybody else. I mean, man, it'd be cool to get some feedback on it. That's for sure.
Yeah, definitely. Man, there's some great plastics coming out. I was just over at our sponsor for the show, the Disc Shop,
Yeah.
and they were showing me some of the ESP Flex plastic.
Okay. Okay.
I mean, I personally don't like the feel because it's really gummy, like
Okay.
dumb gummy, but I can see how certain, like everybody has a different taste. The
Not like
plastics are just,
blowfly gummy or like more, not like that, right?
dude, it's not that gummy, but it's getting pretty close, but it feels
Wow.
more structured than like a blowfly gummy. Like that, the blowfly, for people who don't know, is like a almost a rubber disc.
It's the one that people used to fold up into like a ball and throw it in the chains instead of.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's not quite there, but I mean, it's one of those that you put a little pressure on it and you definitely make an indentation in the disc. It's
Oh wow. So it's
but
like, oh gosh, what's the name of those discs? Like the koi and like those type of discs.
not
Um,
quite there. If you blended a koi with ESP,
okay, okay.
that
So
is
it still
how.
has some structural integrity.
Yes, it has some structural integrity, but if you give it a good squeeze, like if you put firm grip on it, it's going to deform the disc. It's the koi definitely, like you hold it out and it flops in your hand.
Yeah,
But I mean, they were showing me that. I was looking at Clash disc plastic. I was looking at the Supreme plastic for dynamic,
yeah.
looking at
That
the Royal
Supreme plastic
plastic.
for that stuff looks nice, man.
Dude, it all feels incredible. The Star plastic from Innova is always a staple.
Yeah.
It's getting to the point. I mean, AGL's coming out with a new plastic that's similar to that ESP Flex.
Okay.
It's incredible where the sport has gone just since you and I started in the
It really. I
plastics.
mean, it's surprising how much evolution a sport can have once you start injecting some serious money into it, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. I mean, I got my wife a very good beginner disc today. Got her the diamond. That wasn't remotely an option. This disc is built to be a lightweight beginner disc
Yeah.
in a premium plastic.
Yeah,
Uh,
that's like if someone's first starting out, that's the disc I hand them. I'm like, here,
mhm,
throw a diamond, because
mhm,
it's a really understable, really understable disc, but it still has that premium disc feel,
mhm.
and it comes back at the end, which is pretty crazy. But people can get a lot more distance on it, which is great. It's You're right though. I mean, the disc technology is just getting absolutely insane.
Yeah. Again, you have the small manufacturers like Clash and AGL getting new plastics and really high quality plastics. You have the huge manufacturers going, you know what? ESP is perfect. Let's make
Mm-hmm.
it, let's give someone another option. Let's do the flex. Let's do all this sort of stuff. Like I feeling that ESP Flex plastic, I was like, man, throw a zone in this on a Spike Heiser. That'd be like the best disc ever.
I mean, yeah, like it just, it just sits and you have no chance of skipping or anything like that. That just,
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
It's gonna
that's,
be
I mean, I
money.
feel my pigs like that for the same reason. You know, there's zero skip to it. Once it hits, it just, they'll sit within 5 feet. So,
Yeah, it's pretty wild. And now, because like I said, those smaller brands are getting such good quality stuff, it kind of rising tides raises all ships,
Mm-hmm.
where you can walk into the disc shop and have no clue about disc golf and go, "Oh, I like the name Popcorn," and you're a Clash guy. Like,
Yeah.
no, like you're not going in like, okay, anything that's like they have this really small rack of discs that feels like cheap, crappy plastic. Why don't I go over to the Innova or the Discraft or the Trilogy plastics? Like you could legitimately walk in there with no idea of what disc golf is, and no matter what brand you go with, you'll get incredible plastic.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's incredible. It's really cool. But well, oh gosh. Okay. Um, yeah. Look at this thing that he just sent
Who just
um
said?
in the mediocre chat.
This week's episode is brought to you by the Disc Shop. One of the best days for a disc golfer is New Disc Day. With different runs of discs, the best way to get exactly what you want is by seeing what you're buying. The disc shop in Middleburg, Florida has the largest selection in store in Jacksonville. Want the latest from Discmania? The disc shop has you covered. Looking for starter kits to introduce your friends? Head on down to the disc shop. If you prefer the convenience of online shopping, head over to thediscshop.com for all your disc golf needs. Listeners get 10% off when using the code MDGPOD at checkout online or by mentioning the podcast while in store. Located halfway between Trinity and Ronnie Van Zant, the disc shop is the spot. So sorry for the pause there. That's probably a good spot for a commercial break. We just got some details of the deal for Simon with MVP, which I'm sure will be old news by the time this comes out tomorrow. But Dan, quick reaction to 7 figures a year. The MVP pays out the Discmania buyout clause.
That's that's insane. Okay, so MVP, I realize, and this sounds really naive of me, but I realize like MVP obviously made some money with the NV sales, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I had no idea that they had that kind of money to do that. That's
Yeah.
incredible.
I mean, you do have the the what is their fan club called? Like the people who are just huge in the gyro
Yeah.
fanatics. I mean, I know plenty of people who have nothing to do with MVP as far as like a sponsorship that throw only MVP.
Mm-hmm.
They have a really dedicated fan base, and they do have some really good stuff. I mean, the Envy, the Hex. I just actually picked up a Wave today. They have incredible stuff. It's just unique. I think not only did the Holy Shot help James Conrad and the Envy, but I think that opened people's eyes to like MVP is a legit brand. You can win a world championship with MVP, and then people actually gave
Yeah.
it a shot. And I mean, think about it. We're a year and a half past that. They at one point were running machines 24/7, just printing envies or injecting envies, and they couldn't keep up with the demand. You do that for a year and a half, and they're just now catching up as far as supply for their discs. That's quite a bit of cash, and they showed that they had the capital.
That's I makes me feel um a lot I don't know the right terminology to use here, but like not proud, but like I'm glad that MVP is paying their players instead
Mm-hmm.
of some of the other larger name brands that maybe go we're so we have all the box stores, we have all this, we have all that. Maybe we don't need to pay our players as much.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty incredible that MVP is willing to invest in a player like that. That's says amazing things about their company and their brand.
Yeah, definitely. Uh, I'm excited to see what they're able to do with that. I mean, Simon himself is going to bring fans and disc sales. I mean, that glow hex, adorable stamp.
Yeah.
I mean, I might buy one and I don't throw a hex, period. But
Yeah. Hex is
that's
a
gonna be
slightly more overstable Mako
mhm,
is what I know of the Hex,
yeah.
but yeah, it's awesome though. So we got derailed there a little bit when we got that news. Um, we were speaking about great rounds and different things like that, and a friend of ours, Josh Hatchers, had an amazing round, and I think up at the Savannah Open, and you did as well.
Yeah. I a week ago said that I wanted to shoot 1,000 rated round in 2023, and sure enough, the second round of 2023, second tournament round of 2023, I shot 1,000 rated.
It's awesome,
Uh,
man! Congratulations, that's great.
Thank you. Yeah. The first round was not good, and I was playing blind, and I think I had a little bit more of a I don't care, I'm here for fun. Like it didn't even feel like I was shooting 1,000 rated. I missed a few putts. I actually missed like a 15-foot putt. Um, and when the round finished, it was rated 995, which I was still over the moon
Yeah,
about. But
that's sick. Yeah,
then like it was one of those, oh, but if I had like focused on this one putt, it would have been a
that
thousand
could
rated.
have, could have. Yeah,
And then for those who don't know, when you're looking right after your tournament round, when you're looking at those ratings, those are the unofficial ratings. Your rating isn't secured until the tournament director posts it to PDGA and they run more calculations that I don't really understand how it works, but the ratings change. So Tuesday when rating day rolled around, my round went up 5 points and it's 1,000 on the nose. So I joked with our local lefty friend, Crow. Said, yeah, I'm a big fan of speaking things into existence. My new goal for 2023 is to hit the Powerball.
yeah,
But well, that is yet to happen. Maybe I need to wait another week. We'll see.
yeah. Well, Friday, who knows? But take
Who
the show on the
knows?
road. Um,
This podcast will be
no,
very different if I won the Powerball.
yes. Maybe we'll have a few upgrades with some. Yeah, it could be exciting for the podcast. That is, yeah, not for your life in general, but podcast
The important
goals.
things.
Yeah, yeah, that's awesome, man. Really, really cool.
Yeah. And
Um,
you played pretty well at the River City Club Championship that same weekend, right?
yeah, yeah. So remember a while back talking about how you grow in the sport and you don't really feel like you advance that much or you're not doing as well and you're just kind of it's everything seems very incremental. um I played four palms, which historically I've never really scored very well at, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like I think like my best round out there is like 8 or 9 down.
Mm-hmm.
I ended up shooting 13 down, which put me in the top 12 people out of like 160 or something like that. And there were a ton of like MPO players, like 1,000 rated players out there, that I managed to uh, either beat or tie.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I went to a 9 hole playoff from the long pads. And I haven't played the long pads from blue since JO.
Mm-hmm.
So for almost a year now. And the way I was approaching the shots and the way I was thinking about the shots were completely different. And my objective on the shots were completely different. I went bogey free, shot 1 down, um, and came in seventh overall, um, out of 100 and something ton of MPO players. And I was like, man, you know what? Like, I feel like I can compete with these guys now. And it's crazy. Like I was saying, like your incremental changes in the way you address your game and the way that, you fix this or you fix that, or you throw this and you try this disc and you try this in different plastic and it flies the way you want it to. And all these little small changes that you make throughout your, throughout the time playing or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
how all that just finally starts paying off. And you shoot 1,000 rated round, and I do something like, there were a lot of people that when I first started playing, I never ever would have believed I could beat.
Right. Yeah.
If that makes
The
sense.
guys like you looked up to
Yeah.
from a disc golf standpoint of like, oh, I want to be like that one day.
Yeah. Yeah, man. Like the guys that were the guys that were in the cool crowd at the end of league and hanging out together, and that shot this course
Yeah.
records or whatever it is, and you're over there with your plus 20 or whatever, just sitting at the corner going, oh guys, you were really cool to throw that shot, that went really far. And now
Hmm.
you're the guy that everybody else is looking at. And that idea just blew my mind, and I was just, that whole thing was crazy, man. Like, I just, the experience of playing with people that you once had never thought you could beat, and then beating, like, it's just crazy. It was absolutely crazy. And I'm just glad to get the chance to. And Daniel Alexander, Brad Price, Glenn Alexander, man, they put on a heck of a tournament. If you guys
Hmm.
ever, anybody ever gets the chance, highly, highly recommend those guys. If you see them running a tournament, just sign up for it.
Yep.
It'll be a great.
Definitely. Yeah. I think it speaks to kind of what the podcast started out as mediocre. And I mean, we've been doing this for almost a year, and how much our games have changed in that year
Yeah. Yeah.
is pretty crazy. And I think it just goes to show no matter where you start, because some people start really, really good. Some people start like you can tell that they're just beginners. Uh, shows if you put in the work and just keep enjoying the game. If you,
Yeah.
what's
Big thing.
I think the phrase is if you enjoy the process, the results happen on their own.
Exactly.
And
Yeah.
if you just enjoy playing disc golf and keep putting in the work, enjoy the process, you'll have that thing one day where you're like, oh crap, I play in a competitive league and I have the 7 tag.
Yeah. Yeah. And on it, and I don't want to say that, like, because I still look up to those guys, and I still like, holy crap, that disc went really far when they throw it. It's not like,
Right.
I'm still there, but it's still like, it was just really, it was a cool experience for me, for like um um the amateur type guy to be able to compete. I was blown away. But yeah, you're right though. Enjoy the process, enjoy this game, enjoy this sport,
The
enjoy
people.
life, man.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I think we'll end on that
Yeah, and
happy
I want
note.
to say real quick, we've got some really great guests lined up for this year, for coming up. We've got some great guests lined up for next week. Um, if there is anybody that you guys out there want us to interview, if it's your local league guy, if it's your, this guy is the best disc dyer, or if it's, oh my gosh, you need to interview this guy who just shot this amazing, whomever it is, if it's a pro, if it's somebody behind the scenes, let us know. I mean, we really want to kind of reach out to everybody, and everybody has a story, but
Hmm.
yeah, let us know.
Definitely. Well, that wraps it up for today. You can find Dan on Instagram at dhesser and me at Evan DG. Remember to follow the pod on Instagram at Mediocre Disc Golf Pod and on Twitter at Mediocre DG Pod. If you'd like to support us, buy our shirts on mythicdiscgolf.com and listen to us every Friday at 3 p.m. Eastern.
Uh, if the outro wasn't mediocre, what are we even doing?
That's true. The one time I don't have it directly in front of me to just read blindly.
Yeah.
If you enjoyed the show, give us 5 stars and leave a review. And if you didn't, still give us 5 stars and tell us why. We know we aren't perfect because we are mediocre. Have a good night.